Yep, we are back. We are back. We are back. Sometime, man, you gotta, do the impossible. Sometimes you gotta just, you know, believe in yourself, get the knowledge, learn as much as you can, and when it come down to it, hey, be in a position to win. And that's a lot of people kind of neglect certain things, and that's where they have their, faults. Let's begin. Starting out, first of all, surviving yourself, properly understanding, it's Money Mondays, and for the most part, surviving yourself. What's going on, boss lady, Malika, and Cool Gamer? What's going on in the build? Surviving yourself. First off, you got to know you. You know, you got to be comfortable with yourself. You know, you got to be your biggest fan. You got to set the standard. You got to set the stage. A lot of people, kind of neglect themselves to a degree. It comes to parts to where, man, like, I love me. But at the same time, loving yourself, it comes with things like this. Understanding yourself. You know, you got to be your biggest cheerleader. And to do all that, you got to know thyself. Sometimes, using meditation is a form of, relaxation and, getting some things off your chest to the light, because you taking the time, cool down, relax. You know, believe it or not, a lot of women who take bubble baths and just relax and lay in the tub, you get that zen moment for yourself to where you just release everything and just feel good. I feel the same thing when I have a hard pain day, or just want to relax and get me a little Epsom salt bath, because these joints be aching sometime, and it feels good to just sit in the bath. So I would tell my wife, I was like, man, I see why a lot of women just take them bubble baths and just sit in the water like that, because it's so relaxing, even to the point where you have solitude to where you just focusing on you. You're not doing nothing else. I mean, that's the key. Not being able to be all wind up and wild up all the time. Have a little focus to where you can, you know, be for yourself, and, just relax, take it easy. But anyway, focusing on yourself is the key to, kind of get your mental balance, and then taking the initial steps that, I always talk about: the knowledge, getting information that can help you, things that you can understand. A lot of times this self-taught knowledge, a lot of people don't understand it because some things are too complicated. Um, what's the term? Keep it simple, stupid. They have books for dummies. Until you learn the basics, then you can achieve the greatness of what is to be taught. And saying that, to say the least, getting into the stock market, getting into options trading. Those are things that people want to make more money, but they have no earthly idea how to get into it and make it work for themselves. So, that's initially taking the time and studying. You know, a lot of people just, want to make the money. It's always cool to make the money. Never a problem making the money. But the point is learning how to make the money and how to keep the money. And that's why it's Money Mondays. So, small tip. When it comes down to net income, a lot of people try to, build up their net income, gross, whatever it may be from your check. But the biggest thing to get away from that, you're not trying to push your net worth up. And you're not, the biggest thing is living comfortable and living free to the point where you don't have to pay a lot of bills. And then you have a lot of money for savings. You have a lot of money for investments. See, everybody wants to make this $100,000. That's the magic number I've been hearing a lot of. But this is the thing. If I can make $50,000 and my debt is low, no more than about, let's say, 20,000 a year. Let's even go 30,000. That means I have 20,000 extra a year to invest to make more money, to put in a vehicle that pays me passive income, whether it get into real estate, whether it get into a business, something, small. There's a guy, they did a video on YouTube, Instagram, all is going around. There's a guy who actually the product I think was called Method. I think it's called Method. And this guy would go get the products from Walmart. Flat Earth, what's going on with you? Would get the products from Walmart and go and resell them. That is the craziest thing ever. He would literally go get the products from Walmart, resell them on Amazon. Sometimes he would catch the deals. He'll buy the bulk, see how it sells, and then he'll go to a wholesale vendor and just buy the product in bulk, sell it down, send it down to Amazon, and just sit back and make the money. But anyway, this guy made enough money to buy his dream car, which is the Lamborghini Huracan, which is the SUV for most people that don't really know about it. Yeah, I mean that's a little profit. But that's the thing. The process is getting the knowledge and growing. Making 43 is better than losing 86. You know, a win is a win. And it's to the point where a lot of people get more wins than losses. That's where you see the big change. And, overall, you start increasing your money. Prime example, like I say with that guy, he just took something simple as, you know, doubling on his profit. He was buying the stuff. He gave an example of if I buy it for $6, can sell it for 12, then for every bottle that I buy, I'm essentially doubling my money. And his method kept working, proceeding to where, like I say, he bought it wholesale and it was a gold mine. Instead of him making, small returns, he was making almost upwards of 70%, 80% going into the profit margin because he was buying it so cheap. And that's the thing with a lot of people. You get into certain trends and they work I'm at least about 90% of the time. Certain trends work about 90% of the time. But the thing is catching it before the trend goes away. You know, um, the Amazon craze, during the time when C19, everybody was at home, they were ordering more stuff. The Amazon crave got so big to where Amazon was giving contracts to people, but you had to get about 40 vans. You'll make your money, but how much profit would you make? That was the key. What's going on? Kuda's in the building. What's going on, DJ Kuda? And the profit is the key with that Amazon. Knowing that Amazon is always going to make money, knowing that you're always going to have a contract, always going to have this money going. But if you do the numbers, average about 30 trucks. Um, let's do those 30 trucks making. Let's see how we do this for small numbers. 30 trucks making 100,000. Just run the small numbers down. 30 trucks making 100,000. You win about 3 million going into it, and then you turn around and you have all your employees out of that 30. I mean, out of that 100 they made, because they want to make at least, let's say, at least about 40,000. So 40,000. You're taking 40,000 out of that and giving out of that 100 and give it to every employee. So you're left with 60. All right. So let's run the numbers. For every truck that you use, what's going on, Chris G? For every truck that you use, 40% goes to 40%. Well, 40,000 goes to the driver. 10,000 will go to maintenance. Another 20 will go to the truck. So right now you're at 70. So faculty and staff, you're looking at another 20. So essentially, you're going to make 10% profit. That's $10,000 per truck. $1 million ain't bad once you run the 30 drivers. $1 million ain't bad, you know. But the point of reference is that nobody's, really telling you or focusing on. You're not going to make a lot of money and be rich, but running the numbers and learning the process, that's how get to a point of which if it's a good investment or not. You know, seeing things for what they are. You know, when it comes down to it, running the basics, like I always talk about, just budgeting. Key to start everything. On Money Mondays, budgeting is the key. Appreciate that, Kuda. What's going on with you? Appreciate that. And I've always considered going back to the basics, talking about budgeting, because that's the issue with a lot of people in budgeting. They don't have a plan. And the old saying, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. The old, and another term is, trading your trading your time for money, you know. And to this degree, that's working your 9 to 5. And like I said from earlier, your focus is not to make 100,000 and make 1 million and all this. Your focus is for the freedom. See, the lie is to make all the money, because what are you going to do with all the money? Oh, I'm going to save it. What are you saving it for? The prime example is to live debt free, have time to spend with your family, or just travel the world and do things for yourself. That's the ultimate goal that most people should have, and that comes from time of studying and looking at things and seeing the process in which things work. If I were to become, let's say, a millionaire, and I don't learn how to consolidate things to where I can work less and enjoy life, what's the reason for me to try to make all this money and in the end I can't take it with me? Enjoy life now. I was listening to a pastor. He was, talking, and he was saying that there was an old guy when he was young. He took all his health and traded it for money. So essentially, he worked hard. He did all these things. Neglected his health, worked long hours. All these things kind of sounds like me a little bit. What's going on, Frugal Mama? And to the degree, when he became older, he took all his money to try to get his health back. And it was kind of crazy. They made that, those two things go together. But essentially, that's what happens all the time. A lot of people focus more on the money aspect, tend to not even really, you know, work towards their health. And I say work towards your health, that means, hey, getting a good night's rest. Shout out to Shay Love. Every time I'm on her channel, the main thing she focuses on is on you getting a good night's sleep. And a lot of us, we don't know how good a good night's sleep is until you actually get one. You know, um, there was this one where they guy, he was saying that he had such a good night's sleep He had that so-called what they call a coffin sleep, to the point like that's the best sleep he had in his life, due to the fact of, just him just sleeping for hours. And that's the most thing that people are neglecting with their health, is getting a good night's sleep or getting some type of rest. You don't have to do the whole 8 hours, but essentially your body has to get to a point of slowing down, processing things, and then ultimately, as you pick up and start moving and going along, your body has that rest. Because when fatigue sets in, that's the biggest thing. Your body will shut down when you don't want it to. You know, there are some people that just work, 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 work. I've did it several times to where I was probably getting about 3 to 4 hours of sleep at night, because I was getting off late. I was working another job, going over here doing this, trying to make a little extra money here and all that, is because of the process that I was doing to save money to, buy some things. When it came down to it, guess what happened? Man, I was so wore out, to the point where I think one of the Saturday or Sunday when I came home, and I normally don't sleep past, I say about 12, even pushing 1. You know, I'm getting up at 8 o'clock normally because that's my work time. 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. But normally, if I get up at 6 every day, my work time, my body's kicking in at least by 8, to the point where, when it comes down to it, that time I actually slept about 3 o'clock. And my wife was like, "Man, there's something wrong with you. You okay? You never sleep this late. You never sleep in like this." And I was like, "Why you didn't wake me up?" She's like, "I wanted you to sleep. You run too much." And that's the thing. Like I say, if you don't do it, your body will make you do it. Your body will literally shut down, focus you more on your sleep. But, getting into a lot of things is just seeking knowledge. Like college is not for everybody, you know, and to a degree, you got to set your boundaries and your limits. Like I say, college might not be for you. College might not be for, your kids. It depends, because if you retain certain knowledge, you should be okay to focus on trades. You should be okay to focus on yourself. And the biggest thing about all this is gaining the knowledge, you know, and that's where a lot of people get, kind of teetering for life. Hold on, real quick. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but it's just, to a degree, a lot of people are just teetering in life, looking at certain things just passing by. You know, they didn't want to go to school, they didn't want to go to college, get to a degree, take a trade up. So, that's why that every college commercial is so important. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with yourself? You should be going to college. But the main focus is you. You have to enhance yourself and enhance your knowledge. And that's the main thing I focus on when I talk about things about this channel. I focus on you having the knowledge. I focus on you, knowing what you want to do, what you're studying, what you're getting into. Because, say the least, when it comes down to it, whether, I want to drive a truck, whether I want to be in investment, I need some type of knowledge. And that's the key with most of us, having some type of knowledge to set that standard. And a lot of us, we push the issue of, being successful, of making 100,000. But the key is doing all that has structure. You literally have to put in the work. And what is the work? Knowledge, having an understanding that, hey, if I'm going to buy this or I'm going to live like this, I have to invest in myself. And invest in myself is the key things of what? Knowing what I'm investing in, knowing the knowledge, getting a certain standard about myself, getting a certain standard about the things that I want to do, and focus more on them. You know, a lot of us have goals, a lot of us have issues that we want to, I mean, things that we want to do in life and face, but you got to have the knowledge, and that's the key. AP, what's going on with your Epsilon? And when it comes down to a lot of that knowledge, and it's just key focusing in on your reading, focusing in on finding a mentor, focusing in April showers, what's going on with you? Always good to see you. And focusing in on the knowledge, focusing in on the information, key things that can help you grow. Like I say, a lot of times I talk about things on other people's channel, but mainly over here I try to focus more in on the knowledge at hand. Try to focus more in on, you know, getting you to open your mind and say, what is the next step? Especially on Money Mondays, because you got to understand this. When it comes down to it, a lot of us want to be rich. How can I be rich? Who am I studying? Who am I looking at? You can look at all the Grant Cardones, finding in real estate, you know, all the Dave Ramsey's. A lot of their methods work for them. You got to find out what works for you, because one of the things, one of the channels, got her name now, Lash's Journeys. Had to think about it in my head. Lash's Journey. She's from Jamaica. She came over, worked worked her job. She tells this story all the time on her channel, and she pretty much worked her job and loved Dave Ramsey, always looked at his channel, everything, giving the information. And this is what I'm talking about, having a mentor. She had a free mentor. She just looked at him online. Free mentor gave her so much advice. But when it came to her buying a house, Dave Ramsey said, do not touch your 401k. Do not do this, do not do that. She didn't take his advice. She went into her 401k and purchased her home. If she had not did that, then she went in the process of uh focus of buying her second home, and then going into that, buying a third, buying a fourth and fifth with family members. I think she's passed 7 houses already. But it took the point of when the student become the teacher. Literally, she surpassed the knowledge that he gave her and went and did things on her terms, her way, and it worked. And see, that's the thing. Just like I always talk about my marriage, that because I'm married and I married a certain type of woman, that doesn't mean everybody else is going to have the same fate or the same outcome as me. So the proof is in the pudding. If I want different results, I got to do things different. You know, if I want the same results, I got to see what you're doing and do it similar to make it work for me. And that's the thing with money. When it comes down to it, everybody's not going to be a millionaire. You can follow the blueprint of somebody being a millionaire, but it's a different day and a different time. You had people got rich back in the day off of certain things that made them, so-called millionaires, this and that, off of stock market, off the investing in, the housing, off of, just plethora of things. Nowadays, it won't work as much for everybody. You had people back in the day that were buying houses for 2,100 dollars. You had people getting new construction for 15,000. Buying these cars now that worth crazy. I was talking to a guy. His grandmother passed and left him. And I'm gonna get into this. I gotta talk about life insurance. Shout out to Alonzo Hall, the All Star advisor. But his grandmother died, left him $10,000, and I think it was a '80s Trans Am or something that the guy had. I remember I was looking in his warehouse, and he had the car sitting up, and there was nothing wrong with it, just like immaculate condition. And I'm like, "What are you restoring it?" He's like, "No, everything's original on here." He said, "Only thing I had to put on here is an alternator, change up some tires, change the brakes, the usual, but that's it." I'm like, "Oh man, that's nice." He was like, man, I bought this car, and I think the car had less than, I think, 60,000 miles on it. He said, I bought this car brand new. I was going to a time where pretty much I wanted a car, but I wanted something new. I was getting used cars from my parents. I was just turning, I think he said 20 or 21, and his grandmother passed. His grandmother left all his siblings and him $10,000 apiece. And he had enough to where he just bought the car out cash, minus the taxes. He had to come up with the taxes on his own, but other than that, had enough money to buy the car outright. He said everybody was saying that it was foolish, but that was the best investment he had. Stayed with his parents, didn't have no rent or nothing like that, and that car has kept him all this time. But that's an investment because that car right now, he said, is worth about 100 because everything's original. Dashboard's not cracked. You always try to keep it in the garage or something like that. Always try to keep it in storage out of the elements. When it came down to it, I said, man, you can probably sell that thing on Barry Gordon's auctioneer site for way more. But just the point of him having this nice car, this older car, the sentimental value. So when he do decide to sell it, it goes up even further. But needless to say, getting into that, get into this. I was chopping it up. Alonzo had sent me something about there was a young lady and talking to just people on the street randomly asking questions and things, and they asked her, what would you tell your younger self? She said invest in IULs younger, due to the fact that all of the Rothschild, the Kennedys, you know the Rockefellers, all them vested in life insurance, started a trust, and have it to where when the family passes, the money goes in there and builds up the trust, but also the money pays for your life insurance through the trust. And key things like that, focusing in on your money. A lot of people don't want to get into it. A lot of people don't know, and that's the thing. Not knowing the knowledge holds people back. That's why I keep always trying to hint to talking about the knowledge, doing your homework, doing your studies, everything, due to the fact that if I sit there and want to invest in things, I have to take the initial steps into building, net worth. I hear people so much talking about, man, I'm trying to get a business, start family, I'm trying to do generational wealth by starting a family business. Starting a family business is not generational wealth. Starting a family business, ultimately, what's going on, Queena? Starting a family business, ultimately, you kind of essentially putting your kids into a point of debt, say the least. This is something that they can pass down generation to generation, like wealth. But if you don't build a company, you're ultimately passing down debt. Even with building a company, there's a point in which some generation can come in here and tear it all down. Um, if you don't believe me, look at the Vanderbilts. The Vanderbilts at one point was one of the richest families known to man. You know, richest family. Not just being one person. We all knew who was the richest one man in the world, and that was Mansa Musa. But getting into that, the richest family with the Vanderbilts, not knowing how to properly structure the money for generations to come, they were broke in a matter of 3 generations. Going in the fourth, that was one of the first Vanderbilts that went into debt. All this money and didn't know how to properly structure it to pass it down. And just even looking at the point of the Rockefellers, how they rose to power and fame, just if you have any chance, this is how you do your research on this. Look up Rockefeller, look up his wife. His wife started Spelman College. That was his wife's maiden name before she changed it to Rockefeller. Last name was Spelman. Spelman College. A lot of these historically HBCU black colleges, all that, look them up. See who started those colleges. We well, if you know that most of the time they say that the colleges were started, the HBCUs for the mulatto kids that was back during slavery. But the point of reference is, the information is out here now. What do we? There's no more gatekeeping to an extent because the information is available. You know, we hear about people gatekeeping, we hear about people talking and all this. The knowledge is here. Prime example, Erica Williams, the classic climb. Erica Williams focused a lot on business, taking things to the next level, finance, real estate, investing, all these key things. But the problem is a lot of people are not investing in that stuff because they don't have no knowledge. And the times that they do want to invest into it, majority of people get scammed because of the quick get rich quick schemes and the so-called financial, backing and input that you're going to get when you invest in this. If something seems too shaky or too good to be true, 10 times out of 10, normally it is. If I'm in a situation to where I'm investing or I'm doing something to get a big turnaround and someone tells me, you give me your money and I'll give you a 80% turnaround. That is great. But investment don't work like that. On average, you'll get anywhere from a 15 if you're lucky. I would say anywhere from an 8 to 15 if you're lucky, 30% if it's a good return. Anything over 50%, you have to start questioning yourself, how is this person making this much money to pay me back my money? If I give them 1,000, they give me 1,500. So you need to follow that same method and see, because the bank does it all the time. The bank will take your money and an average get about 30 to 40%. Yep, red flag all day, all day a red flag. But the bank will sit there and do the same thing to us. The bank is sitting there getting our money and lending it out to people with a 30% turnaround, mostly because, prime example for cars. I know a guy got a 38% interest rate on a car. I was like, wow. I'm like, I know everybody always say they hit you hard on the first time, especially with no credit. I think I had what 23, but I paid the car off in like 2 years. The next time it was less than that. Was it 16, 18 or something around there? I know it was like in the teens, the mid or high teens. And going in after that, all my cards I pay them off. I try to pay cash, or I try to get to a point to where if I do pay it, it's a couple of payments and I'm one and done. You know, and most time it either be a cash or it be a buy here, pay here. The bigger dealers, they're good, but they're one and the same. They all, have a point of scamming, and to me, it's getting over. Even with the process of me getting a new car, it was crazy overall. But like I said, retaining the knowledge, retaining the information, and that's the key. Making your money, doing it the right way, not getting scammed, not going after the hot ticket items to where if something is too good to be true, 10 times out of 10, it maybe is. So, knowing your options, knowing not to get caught up or, being a victim of this neglect because you don't have the knowledge. That's the easy picking for most people who don't have the knowledge. All the type of scammers and people, they love people like that because they want to take advantage of you not knowing finance, not knowing investing, not knowing uh life insurance, not knowing, you know, even to the point of you just spending money in a grocery store. You know, if you go and buy, let's just say alcohol, what is it called? The white Hennessy. If you go buy the white Hennessy and it's $200 in the store, you like, man, this is good, man. I got it for $200. Then somebody else come around and have it for $80. You like, man, like, dang, Why did I pay so much on the markup for this bottle? The same one, same size, but you got it for 80. I spent 200. You know, bargain shopping, or to a degree, who you know, to a degree, doing your research. You know, sometimes shopping around to get the best deal kind of takes the cake when it comes down to it. You know, same thing with loan, buying a house, getting the best deal. You know, sometimes might go with a broker, or if you're going with your bank, if they're not giving you a good option, shop around. They always say, well, you run your credit too much and this and that. What's going on, Bronze? Oh man, don't run your credit too much when you're buying a house. But how you gonna get the best option? Oh man, you want to go conventional or you want to go FHA? Well, why don't I just go ahead and do a USDA loan? I'm not staying in the city, so I don't have to put no money down. And the USDA loan sometimes is less than 3%. You know, far as the house. Oh, you know about that? Oh, hey, that's the thing. Researching and the knowledge. A lot of times, I've I've come in contact with agents that actually I knew more than them because I did my research. I come in contact with sometimes brokers that didn't think I would be qualified for these programs, and I had to tell them I meet the requirements for this program. Why wasn't this available for me? Why you didn't, hint to get me this program, or look towards this investment with me buying multi units instead of buying a single family home? And what is it called? What is it called? The DCS loan. Tamika Davis going on. And basically that loan is more of a, you're not using your credit. It's going to the debt of the property, in which, to the point where, if the property stand alone, you have 3 units. Each unit carries a note of $1,500 for rent. You're looking at $6,000. But the mortgage on the property is five. Point of having $1,000 at your convenience, and going into that situation, you can buy 4 units, and it still goes in the lines of FHA, the guidelines. Anything over four, then you're going into commercial, then you're going into the multifamily big thing, to where you're paying more. You're paying percentages. Uh, you're going over 20%. In some cases they would want you to put so much down and do a bubble payment within a 5 to 10 year reference. It all depends on how that loan is structured. But you can do conventional on those properties. But it's up to the discretion of the person that's selling. But like I say, going back into it, I have a multifamily 4 units, and knowing what I know from the agent telling them about this situation, they run the numbers, they see it works. I qualify for it because you still have to have your credit to a degree, you know. And in some cases, like I say, you go to the right lender, credit is not even a factor. It's just, the point of it is having tenants already in there and they're paying that money, and you have a history of it, then you're good. But see, this the thing. You don't know because you're not taught, or you're not looking for the information, or just one in general, you're not informed. And like I said, a lot of times we try to trade our time for money, and why not, focus more on the asset at hand, is making the money and having the freedom. Like I said from the beginning, I can make $100,000 a year, and I could be this big guy, because that's the number now, 100,000 plus. Needless to say, we hear the conversations online. We hear the conversations from women wanting men to make $100,000. $100,000 is cool, but when everything's inflated, $100,000 is nothing more than $50,000, especially in a city like California or New York, when a decent property runs you about 45 to $6,000 a month. I know guys that Miss T was going on with you. I knew guys in California that were paying 5,500 a month for their mortgage. It's 3 bedroom house, um, nice house with a basement. 5,500. They took the basement and turned it into a um another apartment. The guy, I don't know, the guy sat on the hill or something. They explained it to me to where the driveway went around to the back, and they had a driveway that goes around to the backside, and the house was built like that. And the crazy part was with his family, his brother able to stay downstairs. They renovated the whole house for him to have a house downstairs and upstairs to where they don't have to, you know, he didn't have to move. He had his own house downstairs. He come up, say hey or whatever, but he had his own house upstairs. The brother had his own house, and the brother initially had the family, so he paid the most for the mortgage. You know, it was a split. I think it was 2,000, 2,500, or something like that, or whatever the split was. But I know they said they split it to a degree to where both of them were paying that 55 a month. You know, that community living, hey, it's something nice. I seen another reference to where there was an elderly couple and they had their 2 kids, which had families. They both were married, had kids, and end up they sold their house for 500,000. The kids sold theirs, and of course they had to pay theirs off, so they walked away with like 100, 200,000. In total, they had 800,000. Went and bought all this land. I think it says about close to 40 acres. There were 2 houses already on the property, in which the kids stayed in the bigger house with their family, and the parents stayed in the smaller house. What's going on? Make this go viral. And the crazy part about it was they were building new houses. They took the money that they had, essentially started the project of having the developer come out, and they built 2 houses. And they turned around and they said, okay, well, we're going to build our parents a bigger house, and then the other 2 houses, we're not going to tear them down. We're just going to upgrade those and keep those for the kids. So essentially, they have 5 houses on that property, and they own the property outright. And instead of them just paying um, 5 different, or 3 different mortgages, they just combined it and just paid one big mortgage, to the point where the land was already paid off, and all they had to do was just pay the property tax on the land, or pay the developers when they built the property. Shout out, shout out, shout out. To get some wrenches over here, you know, over here moving around. I forgot the wrench mob. Getting into my conversation real well. Shout out to Kuda, Chris, and I just gave someone else a wrench. Flat Earth. Shout out to y'all. I just gave y'all your wrenches. Just making sure everybody, check out each other's channel. I always forget to kind of help people promote their channels, and shout out to everybody. Uh, Miss V, make this go viral. MT GV LLC, her and Miss T that do an awesome job with support, helping people join channels, helping people get motivated to big up their channels. Shout out to them. You know, Also April Showers, shout out to her with her channel. She's a great moderator, comes in, helps people out. give them the best information. She moderates the chat when having rents, dropping links, setting the standard. Shout out to everybody coming through. But back to the, case at hand. I'm about to get ready to jump off in a minute. But, like I said, learning the value of money. And the point of reference is, like I said, having the freedom versus making $100,000 and not being able to enjoy life. Making $1 million and not being able to take it when you pass, and just having that money sitting in the bank and not doing anything. You know, People say slow money is no money. So when you have your money not moving for you, you're not really necessarily making money. So invest in your future, invest in yourself, invest in your kids. Start learning the knowledge. Get life insurance, put it in a trust, or just better off get life insurance. And if you don't have a trust, take the initial step into having your kids in the process, to where when they pass, the money, the check, everything essentially gets sent to them, and have a point of reference to where they know how to spend the money. That's the biggest issue that come away from this. If you don't take anything from any conversation, anything that I talk about, when it comes down to it, you essentially have to understand that giving your kids all this money, Sammy Joe, what's going on? Going on with you? You got to get a wrench over. And I use this reference: giving a child millions of dollars with no knowledge on how to spend it, no knowledge on how to invest it, no knowledge on how to keep this money going. It's like giving a 12-year old, oh, I'm sorry, not a 12-year old, it's like giving a 2 or 3-year old a loaded gun. In most cases, the kid will know how to pull the trigger after holding the gun, watching the TV, see how guns work. They will know how to pull the trigger. And to me, giving a 3-year old a loaded gun and they don't have no knowledge of just what they seen on TV is the bang, bang, bang. It's the same concept as like giving an adult or a teenager all this money. It's just like shooting that gun. They're taking that money, they looking at these videos, and all they see these Kardashians or these rappers, these influencers. What are they doing? Spin, spin, spin. When they're spinning, they're spinning, they're spinning, they're spinning, and it comes to that. You're right, Quinn. It won't last. It won't last. And it gets to a point to where nobody give people the knowledge, and then the money just go. Like I said, the way the Vanderbilts, nobody essentially gave them the keys every generation to say, hey, you're going to take this money, you're going to help have some for the next generation, you're going to invest in this, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. No, it was always the goal is to have the lavish parties, to buy the most best things. Key value, knowledge is power. Say the least. The key value, knowledge is power. Materialistic things, ultimately, it adds the look of value to your life, but it don't really add value. I can have a Bugatti and get the status of luxury and fortune, but shout out to T-Pain. When his Bugatti went out, he had 3 Cadillac converters. Those Cadillac converters were $40,000 a piece. He had to spend $120,000 just to get the Cadillac converters to work. He said he didn't even know what he was thinking when he bought that car, but everybody had it. He went and sold a car, ended up buying 3 cars from just selling his Bugatti, and the value depreciated so badly. He said, man, I could have bought probably 4 or 5 cars depending on what I spent on this Bugatti. But like I said, knowledge is the key. Christina, what's going on with you? And when it comes down to it, a lot of people, like I said, when it comes to making money, a lot of people just don't have that knowledge. A lot of people, nobody's teaching the kids. So when it comes down to it, like I try to promote this thing as well, far as teaching my kids as well. I constantly steady getting on my kids. Hey, learn this process. Hey, do these things to succeed. Hey, be financially stable. I have one son, he wants to spend all his money. I have another son, he say he don't have nothing to really focus on with his money. He say he's content. And I hope he keeps that same energy. You know, he doesn't really like spending a lot on shoes and clothes. He said, "Well, you buy the clothes, you buy the shoes. I don't think I need anything too extravagant." He goes and says, "Well, there's small things I might want, but overall, hey, I'm not picky. I'm not pushing myself to get the latest and greatest of things, you know." And that's the key when you're dealing with the youth, younger generational people, they're going to be influenced by so many things. And I've always tried to, hint to this on my channel, and I do this with my kids. When it comes down to influence, the biggest person that can influence my life is people around me, people I can reach out and touch. One of my coaches, I talked to him, gave me some great advice one time. His biggest influence in my life. Still talk to this guy this day. One of my coaches, the wrestling season just ended. I actually went up there, coached with him. He had back surgery. He couldn't go wrestle with the kids, teach them certain things. I took my time and, with my busy schedule that I already had, and made time for the kids. That's what I was telling them. I said, man, it's kind of hard. I work, I do certain things, but I'll make the time for you because he essentially made the time for me. There were some things he helped me out when I was young and gave me a lot of knowledge. So I give back. And like I say, with that knowledge is the key. You know, stop trying to trade all your time for money and start focusing on freedom. You know, being able to make enough money, keep your expenses to a minimum. Shout out to Savings Minus Debt. Use the calculator. Use the calculator. The thing I laugh at the guy and his channel to a degree. I've never pretty much, unless you've just been multimillionaire, you're having some form of debt. You know, they say when a rich person buy debt, when a rich person buy property and have money, they're leveraging. But when a person, Lisa J was going on, when a person doesn't have a lot of money, they're buying essentially debt. You know, investments, buying a house. Don't you know that they put something on these housing markets now? They're essentially had the government had to step in because you had corporations that were buying all the properties. There are literally corporations out here trying to buy. In Georgia, I think they bought about 40,000 properties already in Georgia. I think what was it? Last year or the year before last, within 6 months they had 81,000 evictions that was scheduled. 81,000. And that was from people that were renting and people that were getting foreclosed on. The process was just like crazy. The banks, swarm with properties. And so you literally had investor come in and buy the property, rent them out. Now, when an investor comes and buy the property and rents them out, guess what they do? They control the rent rate. That's why in most areas these housing market is getting outrageous because these corporations control the rent rate. If they make a rent high in the area and someone comes and rent it, then the next person comes and say, well, hey, do the same. Hey, it is. It's a process in which they're forcing people not to have generational wealth. Essentially, from my opinion, some people have their own preference, but from my opinion, real estate, life insurance is two of the biggest assets for generational wealth. You get a 15% or more, turnaround within 5 years, 5 to 10 years of owning a home. You know, some have more gains than that. doing gentrification. I mean, needless to say, it is what it is. Someone comes in and uh, takes an area and make it valuable, more valuable than what it is. Hey, it's a process. I had a friend, his dad worked for the city, and he worked into the development aspect, and they had a 20-year plan in which it's coming through now to actually make it a point to where when Atlanta was doing bad right after the Olympics, they did it like in the 80s. This was a plan in the 80s. The city of Atlanta was going downhill during the Olympics. It was shooting games, and going into the early 2000s is rough, and the city was just going through a whole process. Spark mid 2000s, like around 2010, you seen a boom in Atlanta. Things start flipping more. They start doing a big push. Now all the major projects have been destroyed out here. They've pushed it to the point where, you know, shout out Alonzo, pushed it to the point where it comes down to it. We just pretty much say it's gentrified. That goes for everybody, and gentrification is not just a black thing, in white areas as well. You have certain areas that the people who live there can't live there. An honest 40-hour paycheck, and you can't stay in a area that you grew up in, or afford to buy a house in the city. You have to move to the suburbs, and in most cases, the suburbs still not having enough money to stay there. So you got to be able how to, work your money, use it wisely. That's why I was talking about buying multifamily units. You stay in one for free, you rent the other ones out. Or if you're smart, you would take, instead of every unit pays $1,500, you have 4 units. The mortgage on the unit, the whole unit in general, the whole property in general is $5,000. Each unit is paying you $1,500 a month. Well, let me pull that back, because the live rent free, it would have to be about $4,000 a month. Each unit is paying you 15. So you have an extra $500 at the end of the month. So if you have 15 for the two, that's 3,000. 15 for the next one is $4,500. And the mortgage on that property is $4,000. So you have an additional $500 extra every month coming out. Now, let's say the lease with this, you have an extra 500. Why don't you take that 500, put it in an account, and you match that 500, and there you go. You have an additional $1,000 setting to the side, and you're paying your utilities and everything else. Now, if anything ever happens, hey, you're good. You can fix the property because you have money in your reserve to fix the property. You got to understand, you're not only fixing a water heater in one unit, you're fixing a water heater in 4 units. So you got to have that money on reserve. That's how the knowledge goes when you learn about money. Saving for rainy days. And when you have a multifamily, you're not saving for a rainy day, you're saving for a tsunami. Because if you literally have 3 properties, or maybe even 4, all water heaters go out at one time, water heater right now runs you about, on the low end, about $500. On, just the top end, about 1,500 or more, and that's going into commercial water heaters and things of that nature. But then you also have to get them put in, and it's not cheap to put them in as well. So your options on that, what are your steps? You know, and so needless to say, like I say, when it comes down to it, weigh your options, learn money, stop trading, and I'm gonna keep saying this: stop trading your time for money. Trade your time for some freedom. Make enough money to where you cut your bills so you can live comfortably. You know, don't overspend. You know, I tell my wife all the time, I can get you the nice cars, I can get you the big cars and everything, but the point of it is the maintenance. Are you prepared for the maintenance? The point of it is prepare for the gas. In most cases, luxury cars, high performance cars, the The Chargers, Challengers, Camaros, Bugattis, Audis, they're not taking unleaded. Those high performance cars, if you're putting unleaded in there, you're ultimately tearing your car down, and eventually it's gonna come to a point of cutting out. So you have to budget for that. When you get that new car, you got to budget for that. You got to budget for the insurance. The insurance is not cheap. You got to budget for that. And like I said, essentially, if anything goes wrong with that car, budgeting for that. That's why you actually would need a extended warranty. A lot of people don't think those extended warranties are good until they actually need them. Best way of getting an extended warranty is getting it now while the car is in good condition. Because if anything goes wrong later on the car, guess what? That's being fixed under the extended warranty. And a lot of people, like I said, it's just the knowledge. Same thing with buying a house. A lot of people don't know. Let me gatekeep this. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I don't want y'all to tell everybody. But you can also get an extended warranty on your home. There are things like the water heater going out. They'll pay for that. The roof, they'll pay for that. I told people I got the same extended warranty on my house for all my appliances and things. I didn't even know I could use it on certain things. I thought it was just for the bigger things like the water heater, the AC unit, the heater, the roof. I thought it was for major things. Don't you know I literally bought two refrigerators before my wife told me. It was like, oh, I was just going over the paperwork for the warranty. Just when they sent me the invoice in the invoice online, we can use that to get us a new refrigerator. Called them up. They said, well, refrigerators is so expensive right now. We're going to give you $2,200 to buy a refrigerator. I was like, oh man, that's cap. Refrigerator is like $1,000. I can get me $1,000 refrigerator and keep the 12 to myself. I go to look for a refrigerator, brand new refrigerators, all the bells and whistles, $4,500. These are the ones that are Samsung with the touch screen monitors and all that. The camera in there that can tell you when you can look in there while you're at the grocery store, stuff like all the bells and whistles, 45, 55, $100. I don't need all that. I just need something that produces ice, water filtered, and keep a refrigerator and a freezer. That's it. Went to a scratch and dent place, caught one. I think it was around 22, around 2,200. Same thing what they gave me from a scratch and dent place, and the dent was on the side, not even a big dent, and it was a GE, which I bought Frigidaire. I bought what was it? LG. I bought Samsung. I'm gonna tell you right now, FYI me, I don't. It's my preference. I'm never buying and I did this with my washing machine, so it gave me good stand. That's why I did it. My washing machine, I got a Samsung washing machine. Now the Samsung washing machine is still kicking. My dryer had to get a new dryer, and if I knew just to go ahead and fix it for the small amount, I probably would have kept it because that was a great dryer. It can held up to 3 blankets. That the drum on that was the main reason I bought it because I had at the time my twins were born and I had two older kids, so I had a lot of clothes to wash in the house. I spent $1,200 on that thing. Probably what was it? Twins when I bought it for the twins 13 years ago. 13 years ago, 1,200 on wash and dryer was a big thing. They was about six a piece, and still got to wash your dryer, switch out so. But refrigerator, Samsung, it sucked. Didn't want no more. LG, same thing. Also, my stove. I bought another stove not knowing. I could have used my warranty for the stove. And that's the thing. With me not having the knowledge of looking at my paperwork, seeing what I buy, checking the process, and man, it works. Yeah, I got it from the Lowe's. They have a Lowe's outlet in Georgia, down in Monroe, where it's on the south side of Atlanta. But those scratch and dent stores, they pretty much standard. Everything's good. The delivery guy probably dropped it. Something happened to where they have warranties with that. I got a I got a 5-year warranty on my wash on my refrigerator. Even though it came with a warranty from the warranty company, I got a even extended warranty just in case because I don't want to keep dealing with them. I want to use them for something probably when I actually need it. So I'm paying for it anyway, but this is a comfort for me. And it wasn't nothing but like $100. I'm like, hey, throw in $100. It wasn't bad. I rationalized my spending. But like I said, extended warranty on your car, extended warranty on your house. People are not talking about this stuff until they actually need it. So getting motivated to do the research, this is some hint. For people that need it, I'm giving you a bone right now. Same thing when you first buy your house. A lot of people don't know you can have this consolidation to where if if let's say you have a husband and wife or just a husband, I mean, or just a man or a woman that goes and buy a house. They have insurance that you can purchase that pretty much if you pass, the house get paid off, and you good for the kids. Take that, put that into a trust, and there you go. You're being provided enormous wealth to your kids, and put it in a trust to where it just be an easy transfer, and then when they want to sell, it goes against the trust paying the insurance, not the child. You know, and making their income like boom and goes up to them not having to pay capital gains tax on all the, how much that house has increased over time. You know, they're paying a big tax bill on that. And like I say, just the tip of the iceberg, learning knowledge, being successful at what you do, just being at peace with yourself. And like I said, going into this is part two of surviving yourself and surviving your finances. And also, with it being Money Monday, focus more on the money aspect of it. And tomorrow I might do a part three or Wednesday. I think I'm going to start skipping days because I be so busy lately. And the fact of the matter is, like was talking about earlier, have peace within yourself. Get to a point of some type of solitude to where you can relax, focus on things, writing things down, be more mentally ready to prepare yourself for that day. You know, drinking a coffee, being all hyped up. If it's needed, it's needed. But if not, drink some water. Get your body ready for that day. Mentally focus. Most people don't like their job. If it gets to a point where you hate that job that much, find something else. You don't want to be stressed all day about anything, especially when it comes to your kids. You can't just kick your kids out, get rid of them, but you can work with them to ease your mind, ease your stress. I will put my kids on punishment in a heartbeat. I have that X1 X1 from Xfinity, the box. I can cut off the internet, cut off the TV, everything from a push of my phone. Anytime my kids do something wrong and I look at them or I'm on the phone with them and I say, "Oh, you didn't do your chores?" "Oh, no, 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 Dad, I'm doing it now." I will sit there and cut off their internet. Because when I come home, I want my peace to be peace. They say you out here fighting the world all day, living out loud the podcast. What's going on? All right, living out loud, you got your wrench. Try to make sure everybody get their wrenches over here. So you can go check out all these wonderful channels of all the people that come over here. Like I said, hey, I'm in the process of sharing. That's the whole point of we being here. We here for the knowledge, we here for the information, we here for the support, we just to hear in general. And like I said, when it comes down to it, just get yourself to a mindset of, just being relaxed. If you focus on keeping yourself at bay, keeping yourself peaceful, not letting things get to you, knowledge is here. Just take the knowledge that you learn and instill it in your kids, instill it in other family members. Help people get to a point of peace. Because if you help yourself get to peace, you can help others get to peace. And like I said, it's very simple. Do the homework. Pick up a pencil and pen, write down your finances, write down all your bills. See how much money you coming in. Sometimes you might have to go get a part-time job. Sometimes you might have to go do something on Uber, Lyft. There's a lot of gig apps that you can do. There's a lot of things that you can do outside of not even working, doing physical work. A lot of people who podcast and like talking. You have these great mics. You can go to, I think it's called ACX, AUX, ASX. I'll find the name of it again, but the point of reference is you can literally go on and you can Google search it. A lot of people who do Audible, you can read books for people and do their Audible. They'll pay you to do that. They have a internet buddy, Cyber Friend. I think that's the name of the site, or they have other sites, Cyber Friends and stuff like that. You can literally talk to people like I'm doing now, have somebody up on the panel, and I'm talking back and forth with them, having a conversation. Literally, that's the case when you do this Cyber Friend. They'll pay you to come up here and y'all just have conversation with each other. There are probably some things that they want to tell you they can't tell their family members, and they just need somebody to talk to, get it out their chest. They'll literally pay you for that. There's websites you can Google as well. Surveys. People are getting paid to do surveys. There's a gaming, people who have gaming channels. They have sites that pay people that are game testers. They have also sites for clothes. They pay you to wear like the new Nike outfits, the new Nike shoes, Adidas, and they want to get brand information, like just like those mystery shoppers they had back in the day. You don't really hear about them as much. They pay people to wear the clothes and see how you like the clothes. How do they feel on you? Do you have any chafing or anything? Do the shoes fit good? Do you feel like you're walking on rocks? How it feels when you walk a whole day in the shoe? They need the feedback to change up some things and make things better for their products. Especially with new companies coming out, they love feedback like this. You know, there was a site that I used to go on called UberZone. UberZone were a lot of people who are on Amazon that needed reviews, so they would sell their products at MSRP, whatever like for the dealership, the markdown of which they bought it at wholesale price, or to the point where they will make a profit of less than $2 to $3. But they want to get the reviews and they want to see how well their product works. So they will sell it little to nothing. I got like beard combs. I got different shampoos. I got different marker sets, just fabrics, things for the kids, things for me, cell phone cases, all that at markdown prices. So sometimes the easy money is you doing the research. Just easy as you doing the research, find out how can I do some things to make more money? How can I do some things to better my life? And it takes only you. You take the initial step to making more money, to put more money aside for your kids. And if you don't have kids, put money aside for yourself for your future. And I always say this 10 times out of 10, you're going to get old. And when you get old, what is the process? What are you doing for your life? Everybody who comes to my channel, I've always said this and I'm going to keep saying this. I'm retiring at 55. People might say, oh man, that's not realistic. To you is not. To me, I'm making it a goal. But if I don't hit the goal, the point of reference is that was the intended target. Retire at 55. So that's why I need to get on the ball right now. Working, looking at investments. Shout out to Alonzo Hall, the All-Star advisor, getting my life insurance ready. Shout out to Lisa J. Stocks, Lisa J. Stocks, going over there, investing, seeing what are my options into the future for retirement, 401k, investing in IRAs, Roths, anything that I need to do to push myself to the next level. Shout out to Dr. Dunbar, Big Discussion 76, where we talk about different things: finance, lifestyle, marriage, single, um, how am I spending the money? What am I spending the money on? Shout out to him and his channel, having a money conversation. Shout out to Erica Williams, the Classy Climb over here, learning about business, learning about the process of things, learning about wholesaling, learning about, tax liens, all these things that are online. Like I say, I'm into the guilt. I be entertained. I go over there. I laugh at a lot of channels. But when it comes down to it, I'm looking for the knowledge to take myself to the next level, and that's all I'm trying to encourage people to do. And with that being said, shout out to everybody in the building. And Frugal Mama won this in my giveaway. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna do another giveaway. And shout out to the Soar Family Expo. I'm actually gonna be going down there, and if you're gonna be there, you might be in the process of getting some of the giveaways. So I'm gonna do another one on my channel, and like I said, I'm gonna do another cash giveaway. I'm gonna do another product giveaway, and I might even have it to where you can vote for things that for me to buy to actually give away. You know, because some of the things that like I said, I just getting donated a lot of things that I had and I didn't use, and then there were things that I had that pretty much to the point where I said, man, I'm just gonna buy this new and give it away. But there you go, Frugal Mama. She already knows what I'm about to say. Shout out to everybody in the building. I always say when I leave here, we here and we gone. Peace. Big Rooster. Hey, you would come up here late talking about getting you a new Harley. Hey man, I'm gonna see if it's in my budget. What's going on, G Mama? I'm gonna see Big Rooster if it's in my budget. If it's in my budget, I might have to do the buy Big Rooster Harley. Matter of fact, Rooster, now that you done came up here, I might go ahead and bless you with a Harley. I'm feeling generous. I got to see how my pockets is, but I'm gonna bless you with a Harley. Rooster, I'm gonna have to hit my Gmail. We could talk about that, Rooster. I got some plans because me and Gold P, he was talking about buying a new bike anyway. So we're gonna talk about that, Rooster. And shout out to you. Hit the sheet we here at Gmail, and we're gonna talk about that, Big Rooster. We're gonna talk about that, Big Rooster. All right. I gotta get out of here. We here, we gone.